1st January 1923, or at least 95 years before January 1st of the current year, whichever is later. In many cases, a public domain normally means you can actually have no restriction of use to it. That means you can freely use it anyhow you want, and this is because after so many years, the copyright holder has expired and the author of the company is no longer around in most cases, with the exception of the maybe some of the famous works that came from the early 20th century like Dale Carnegie and so on. But most of the time, the public domain is free from the copyright because they've already been expired and the authors are normally no longer around. Statistically speaking, 15% of the books in the world today are originated from public domain or are in public domain. This is something very good and you can actually use it to your own advantage. However, I want to warn you that public domain, although the good thing about it is that you can actually put your name as the author and claim the content as your own, the problem is that with the works from almost 100 years ago, information by now is normally obsolete. And I won't neglect to mention that at the time the command of English was quite different than it is today in modern society. The best and safest bet is that you use public domain information in areas that are time-tested like principles, self-improvement, and some food recipes because these are time-tested and has been proven. But I warn you that you have to do quite some reworking about the English, especially and simply public domain titles that are time-tested. Again, this is quite possible to get it done overnight or at the most a couple of days because it's very possible to do it overnight. So, when you have a public domain content all arranged, you can actually create your own information product and get this done even by today. But do take note, not every single public domain book have expired the copyright as I've said before, because things like the Bible for an example, you can't just claim it even though the Bible may be 2000 years or older. And you can't just put your name as the author. Things like that, which is quite ridiculous. Gutenberg.org is an immediate good source for public domain content. The second type of pre-made content is called private label rights. This is increasingly popular in the internet marketing arena. Just like public domain, you can put your name as the author and edit the contents. When you compare private label rights to public domain, this is much better in every aspect in the sense that private label rights are a relatively new concept to the internet marketing arena. And also, this means that the contents are much more updated, timely, and modern. Like for example, obviously 100 years ago, there is no internet, so you can't find books about the internet at that time obviously. But there are a lot of books on things that are currently today like the internet, iPhone, how to use technology, gadgets, and things like that which we cannot find in public domains. Here are 3 places which I think you can get good private label rights, PLR content. privatelabelrightsgo.com, plrgovideos.com, and resellrightsmastery.com. These are coming from some of the best providers of private label rights, and I really recommend that you get your source of PLR content from these sites. Just to let you know, pre-made content does have to be limited to written content. So, it's not just about ebooks and articles. Any kind of works that are created in a public domain, including music and even audio for the matter, are also content that you can easily use. And today, private label rights are not just limited to ebooks or articles. You can also get PLR software and PLR videos. I hope this helps you get a jump start with your content creation empire. Now, let's just say you don't want to do your own creation and you're too lazy to even use pre-made content. You prefer to get other people to do it for you. No problem. Do you know that you can get other people to create content for you willingly? There are ways to do it and still achieve a win-win situation. You can interview other experts. There are some really good marketers who have been doing very well with interviews, and the thing is, you don't really need much preparation to do this. All you have to do is contact that person, shoot him a couple of questions and pick up a microphone or do a Skype call with him, and he'll just do his brain dumb. But I'm going to teach you how to propose to potential experts or potential interviewees, because nowadays the idea of interviewing other people can be kind of saturated, and why should they get interviewed by you, because they are actually normally very busy people, especially if they are successful experts. So one way you can propose to them is that you can promise them that they will be getting exposure to a market that hasn't heard of them, and make sure that you can actually deliver to it. For example, if you're doing it for your own country's market and you want to bring the expert in, you can introduce him to your market that has not heard of him, so I'm sure a smart business person wouldn't want to pass it up. You can also offer that he may pitch about his own product in the last 5 minutes of the call. So give a set of questions in advance, like 4 to 6 will normally do, and this can actually last 30 to 45 minutes depending on how elaborate he gives and how challenging the questions are. To be able to do the interview online, you can use Skype or PowerGramo. These are really good tools and they are actually free. Once you get an interview done, you already have an instant product and you don't have to be an expert yourself, because you're leveraging on other people's expertise in exchange of giving him some exposure, and helps him build his credibility as well. Then, there is also hiring a ghostwriter. This would be a very ideal way for creating information products like ebooks for that matter. A couple of places to look at on the internet are elance.com and thewarriorforum.com. These are really good places where you can get ghostwriters, because writers do hang out this place, including the Warrior Forum. Now, if you're not comfortable using the forums, there are still offline methods like getting college students or asking referrals from other business associates. The good thing about getting a ghostwriter is that when you tell them your syllabus or what kind of content you want them to write for, and you make sure that they are able to generate the content for you, as long as they know what they are writing. This is really a good way to have content done for you, and you don't have to do anything at all except pay a fee for it. I'm going to teach you one way to actually save money on your ghostwriting fees in exchange for more value. I know some marketers, they actually spend $800, $1,000 or even $2,000 to have lots of content written for them, but the problem is that they don't know whether they are being shortchanged or not. The problem with telling a person do in pages is that when you ask, let's say for example, 3 different people to write a 20-page ebook, you find out that their numbers of words vary. Like maybe the first person would take like 5,000 words. The second person may be able to do it in 6,000 words because he uses smaller fonts. And the third person may do it in 1,500 words because he has been putting a lot of pictures, things like that. The best bet is that you want to specify the amount of words per article. So one article equals to 1 sub-chapter for your ebook. Give the assignment in quantities of articles, not a book's pages. For example, if you've decided that there should be 20 sub-chapters in your ebook, then specify them as articles and give it to your ghostwriter. So this way, you can see that it's much more quantifiable right now. You can see that you're paying for the amount of words, not the amount of pages anymore. One more quick thing about ghostwriters is that you want to check with their integrity first. You want to make sure that their articles are not plagiarized from any other websites. The best thing to do is that you can go to copyscape.com and do a search on any of the articles to make sure there are no duplicates from other sites. Once you get your content creation nailed down, it's time to give your product a face. You can't tell a book by its cover. is a phrase that adults repeat to children that tell them not to judge people by how they look, and it is good advice. However, the cover of a real book is what causes people to purchase that book out in the real world. Digital products are no different. It needs an attractive and appealing cover design to encourage people to buy it, since people cannot physically pick it up to inspect, just like this course you're going through right now. If you have very deep pockets and money is simply no object, you can hire a graphic designer who can create a digital ebook cover for you. I recommend minisiteguru.com for this. This designer provides not only top-notch graphics, his customer service is timely, which is rare every time a designer becomes more successful. On the other hand, if you are like most small internet business owners just starting out with little budget, there is still another alternative. You can buy software that will allow you to create your own ebook covers infinitely. It comes several varieties. You can buy software or action scripts that will design covers from 2D or 3D. I recommend myinstantcovers.com for this. It is easy to use, and with it, you can even do graphic designs for others. Graphic design is a rather lucrative enterprise and one that you can tap into with this software. Pricing is another important strategy. This will determine how much money you are going to make. There's no right or wrong in this. Pricing your product higher doesn't necessarily mean it's better than pricing it low. So does pricing your product low doesn't mean you will get to make more money by catering to more people. Instead of being biased, why not have products that sell at all price ranges possible? If this is your first time creating a product, you should start with creating the front end. This is the foot in the door. You get people to buy from you for the first time. They have decided to trust you, or rather, take the risk to trust you. Since it's low ticket and it doesn't cost much, just anywhere below $27, you encourage your prospect to become your customer and test the waters with you. All else fails, there's a money back guarantee and it's only below 27 bucks. But you don't stop here. The selling continues. You must always upsell. Peddle more products to your customers. Don't let the buck stop at the front end. Then, this is where your middle ticket product comes in. You see, your front end is like a trust builder. You give quick, useful information. Help your customers solve a small problem and prove yourself. The customer will want more if he finds your product great. And why not? Especially if it's in a niche where people are continuously looking for improvements. This is why wealth creation, relationships, self-development, these are hot niches where people spend money over and over again to re-educate themselves and continuously grow. So middle ticket items, this is one hurdle above low ticket items, can be ebooks, online courses, just like what I had taught you. Again, it doesn't stop here. Your goal is to move your customers up your sales funnel from front end to upsells, then to back ends. Your high ticket products. This is where the real riches come from. People make a lot of money for less effort. You see, it's easier to get the same